It begins with a young orphan girl named Heidi, living with her aunt for many years. Due to some reasons, her aunt could no longer keep her. Heidi's aunt takes her to the mountains to leave her with her grandfather Alpahai. People in town are afraid of him and believe he once committed a murder. However, his aunt ignores all these rumors and doesn't even consider whether Alpahai might be dangerous for Heidi. Simply takes her to his house. While climbing the mountain, Heidi feels uncomfortable in her stiff dress, so she removes it to feel more at ease. Enjoying nature. They reach Alpahai's house. He refuses to keep Heidi with him and pretends to take Heidi back, but instead she secretly leaves her there and runs away. Alpahai realizes that Heidi has been left behind, tries to stop her aunt, but she ignores him. In anger, Alpahai decides to leave Heidi alone there and locks his house from the inside. With no other option, she finds a place to sleep in the barn with the goats. The next morning, Alpahai gives her goats milk for breakfast. After that, he takes her to the priest. The priest examines Heidi and confirms that she is completely healthy. He then advises Alpahai it is his responsibility to take care of her. Alpahai insists that he does not want to keep Heidi. In response, the priest asks for 3 days to see. A farmer in town needs a child helper. Alpahai allows her inside the house. However, everything inside is set up for only one person. In this, she finds a pile of hay, happily makes it her bed and starts living there. Next day, Heidi meets a boy named Peter every day. He wants to take Alpahai's goats for grazing. Today, Alpahai decides to take Heidi along with him. He also gives her bread and cheese for lunch. He enjoys her time because it gives her a chance to go outside. Heidi happily enjoys the open sky. Secretly eats some of her lunch. Heidi realizes this. Peter quickly blames the goats. They're talking. Two goats suddenly start fighting. Peter uses his stick to separate them. Heidi doesn't like this at all. She makes Peter promise that he will never hit the goats again. In return, she agrees to share half of her lunch with him every day. Asks Heidi to keep their deal a secret. He is afraid of Alpahai. When Heidi returns home, she starts behaving strangely with Alpahai. Even insists on sleeping in the barn. Alpahai realizes that she has learned about the false accusations against him. He calmly tells Heidi that instead of believing others, she should listen to her heart and decide her grandfather could ever do something like that. Heidi's heart softens and she trusts her grandfather. Runs to hug him and then happily goes to sleep in the attic. The next day, Heidi again goes out with Peter and the goats, while Alpahai starts working on a crafting. Heidi returns home. She is surprised to see in another chair at the dining table. Alpahai then tells her that she can stay with him. Hearing this, Heidi becomes overjoyed. In a few days, she wins over Alpahai's heart, so becomes best friends with Peter. And more comfortable, she even cuts her hair short. Peter tells her that he won't be able to play with her anymore because he has to start going to school. However, he invites Heidi to visit his house anytime and tells Heidi that they can only play together again during the spring break. During this, he also wishes to go to school. Alpahai does not send. He knows that during the winter, Heidi won't be able to travel to town for school. As winter arrives, going outside becomes difficult for Heidi. Staying indoors all the time makes her bored and restless. This Alpahai carves a wooden bird toy for her. It doesn't help much. Cheer up, Heidi. Alpahai builds a sled that can move through the snow. Takes her on a ride and it successfully lifts her spirits. After that, he drops Heidi off at Peter's house so she can spend time there. Peter's home, Heidi meets his mother and grandmother. The financial situation is very bad because Peter's father had passed away. However, Peter's mother is doing everything she can to educate him. After spending the whole day with them, she hugs Alpahai and realizes how lucky she is to have him. Passes, and Heidi continues to live happily with her grandfather. Everything seems perfect, but one day, her aunt suddenly arrives. She tells Alpahai that she has come to take Heidi back. She now has a job that allows her to take care of Heidi. However, Alpahai does not trust her words. Pretending to be ashamed, Deed acts as if she is leaving. But once again, she tricks Alpahai and secretly searches for Heidi. Finds Heidi playing with Peter. When she asks Heidi to come with her, he refuses. She tells Heidi that Alpahai also wants her to go. Hearing her grandfather's name, Heidi believes her and agrees to leave. Peter returns with the goats. Alpahai immediately understands what has happened. She's down to town to find her, but by then, it is too late. Takes Heidi to Frankfurt, where they arrive at a grand mansion. There she introduces Heidi. However, the governess is not pleased to see her. She thinks Heidi is ill-mannered and dirty. Finds the governess that they specifically asked for an orphan girl. She has been brought to be a companion for the owner's daughter, Clara, who cannot walk. He excitedly pushes Clara's wheelchair around and breaks a vase. Protect Heidi. Clara takes all the blame in front of Fräulein. If Heidi was to stay with Clara, she needed to learn many things, so they clean her up and start teaching her how to live in the house properly. Heidi also starts studying with Clara. When everyone finds out that Heidi cannot read or write, they're shocked. Fräulein immediately wants to get rid of Heidi, but she cannot do so. Clara's father arrives. She tells the professor to make Heidi study as well. In a few days, Heidi learns the house rules. She does not completely change. Whenever she gets a chance, she even hides pieces of bread in her pocket. Heidi wins Clara's heart and becomes very close to her. Clara opens up about her feelings, revealing that she was so heartbroken after her mother's death. Stopped walking one evening. She asks a servant Sebastian to open the window so she can see the mountains. When she looks outside, she sees only buildings. Seeing this, Sebastian tells her he needs to go to a much higher place to see the mountains. Heidi tricks everyone and sneaks out of the house with Clara. Clara is thrilled because she was never allowed to leave the house. They reach the city tower, and Heidi leaves Clara alone to climb higher in search of the... However, she is disappointed once again. All she sees are endless buildings.
Well, Clara starts feeling scared, but then she notices a man's
Selling kittens and decides to buy them. Meanwhile, back at home, everyone panics when they realize the girls are missing. She's to the market to find them. Sebastian eventually finds them. Clara quickly hides the kittens under her blanket before return home. Before Fräulein can get angry at them, she starts sneezing because of her cat allergy. Then one kitten jumps from Clara's lap. Fräulein gets so scared that she climbs onto a pole. Fräulein makes Heidi stand facing the wall. Warns Heidi that next time she will face an even worse punishment. This makes Heidi feel terrible. She secretly takes all the bread she had saved. Tries to sneak out of the house. Fräulein catches her and scolds her. She should be grateful for the luxurious life home she has been given. However, Heidi is more upset about Clara crying. After this incident, Clara's health worsens. Heidi is consumed by guilt. As Clara starts feeling a little better, Heidi visits her room and explains she was not leaving because of Clara. As Clara recovers, she returns to her normal routine, studying again. A few days later, Clara's father and grandmother arrive. Clara is overjoyed to see them. Fräulein does not look pleased. Seeing Clara so happy with a friend, Father feels reassured that his idea worked. However, Fräulein tries to change his mind, arguing that Heidi is still wild and does not focus on studying. But Clara's grandmother has a different opinion. Instead of believing, Mother said, Clara's grandmother wanted to see everything for herself. At night, she tells Heidi a bedtime story, but does not finish it, hoping Heidi will try to read it on her own. Heidi then admits that she does not want to learn because Peter told her that studying is useless. In this, the grandmother explains that Heidi should not believe everything she hears. She should analyze things herself, since Heidi loves stories, so she decides to focus on learning. The next day, Clara's grandmother tells her father Heidi is a sweet child, but keeping her in the house is against her wishes, so she should be sent back. He does not want this, as Heidi's presence has improved Clara's health. As time passes, strange noises start coming from the house. Servants often find the main door open, while Heidi works hard to finish the story and finally learns how to read. Proudly reads it aloud in front of the whole family. Seeing this, Clara's father realizes Heidi is capable of staying in the house. Heidi does not seem truly happy. For this, Clara's grandmother returns home. While Clara's father is playing chess with his friend, hears the same strange noises. His father's friend searches the house, thinking that a thief has broken in, but in reality, it is Heidi who is sleepwalking. She unknowingly leaves her room, opens the main door, stares at the open sky just to do while herding goats. Returns to her room and goes back to sleep. Doctor checks Heidi and finds her shivering badly from the cold. He explains that Heidi is suffering from homesickness. Warns that if she is not sent home soon, her health could be in danger. However, Clara's father is still hesitant to send Heidi away. This morning, he tells Clara about Heidi's condition. Explains that she needs to go back home. Instead of understanding, Clara becomes upset and locks herself in her room. He is happy to return home but worries about Clara. He goes to talk to her. Refuses to open. Finally, the time comes for Heidi to leave. Before going, she gives Clara's father a wooden bird Alpahai had made for her. Promises Clara that she will visit again. Fräulein thinks that now the house will be peaceful. As soon as she turns, she spots a kitten. Picks it up, decides to keep it, names it Heidi. Meanwhile, Heidi returns to Alpahai's town. Everyone is overjoyed to see her. Quickly goes to meet Alpahai. However, things have changed. Alpahai now sends Heidi to school, and during winter they move in town. Heidi's new teacher is kind. Learning easier, everything returns to normal. Heidi finally gets the life she always wanted. Though Heidi is happy with her new life in the mountains, she misses Clara. She writes letters to her, and when Clara reads them, she feels sad, realizing that she never even said goodbye to Heidi. Her granddaughter upset, Clara's grandmother decides to take her to Heidi's home. The two friends reunite. They are overjoyed. Clara's grandmother then decides to let Clara stay with Heidi. Days. Heidi shows Clara about how she lives in the mountains, and they grow even closer. However, this makes Peter jealous. One day, pushes Clara's wheelchair off. Everyone quickly realizes that Peter is responsible. To ensure Clara's safety, Alpahai stays with both children at all times. Clara sees a beautiful butterfly. Without thinking, stands up to follow it. Struggles at first, but manages to take small steps. In Peter's help, she continues to improve. Days later, Clara's father and grandmother come to take her home. When they see Clara standing on her own, they're overwhelmed with happiness. Before leaving, Clara promises Heidi that they will meet again. Clara's grandmother also gives Heidi a diary and a pen. Final scene, we see Heidi happily tending to goats with Peter, like before, but now along with her daily routine, also writing in her diary, fulfilling her dream. This beautiful moment, the movie comes to a heartwarming end. For watching.